Hi, I'm Torch the Adjacent Prepper. Welcome back for another garden update. And my wife's been doing most of the garden work for the last week, so I'm kind of discovering the status of things with you here as we walk through. Let's get started. And it's kind of dark out because it's late. Here we've got our beans starting to develop. Looks like most of these beans are actually flowering. So that's kind of cool there. If I walk over to the potato bag, I should probably just harvest that because there's not much going on. And over here was our first attempt at creating sweet potato slips. And looks like it's mostly covered with grass, but there is the sweet potato plant there. Now over here we've started working on the garden bed, or the onion beds. So basically just been tilling up the ground. Initially I was planning to do 5 10-foot long beds. That didn't quite work out, so I'm going to have 4 12-foot long beds. Main reason is I just wanted to space it so there's enough space in here that I can drive my truck to the back of the property if I need to. So that's basically just picked up this spading fork at Walmart for 25 bucks and have been working on it. It's actually good exercise. Okay, continuing over here. These are the older beans. As an experiment, I tried throwing a permethrin bug killer spray basically on these beans closest to me, and they don't seem to have minded it much, so I'll probably spray the rest of them down at some point. And as you can see, they're starting to produce like crazy. I like these strike bush beans. They just come right up real quick. It's definitely some pressure on them though. I don't know if it's insect or what that is. But for the most part, it's not too bad. We'll see how those go. Continuing over here, the new chard are getting taller. These chard were planted after I moved in my really fancy planters, just mostly just tires somebody left on the back of the property. The peppers, excuse me, are pretty unimpressive. Like, that's tiny. If I put my hand there, you can see how small it is. Now, when I was digging the onion beds, I actually found some wild onions growing in there. So I just relocated them to the middle of this raised bed. And they're tiny, you can't even see them. But the fact that I've got wild onions growing where I plan to put my actual onions is kind of a good sign. If we come over here to the tomatoes, I might actually get some tomatoes before it frosts over. Some of these guys, as you can see in there, starting to get blossoms on them. No fruit yet, but honestly I didn't think they were going to get this far. And there's a bunch that actually have these little blossoms on them. See, that one's the same way. If you look past, the one in the yellow cage has some blossoms too. And here's my rock star. And a bunch of blossoms in there. Some more in the back. So hopefully at some point soon I will be eating tomatoes. Almost forgot the rest of the stuff over here. The chard that we brought from Austin is continuing to do well. I ate a leaf of that with my breakfast. It goes well on tacos. Need to be careful when I'm stepping on. Okay. The Bok Choy, at the end were actually the older Bok Choy, and I think they're a little crowded still. Then here we've got the second planting of Bok Choy. Some of those are actually getting kind of big. I have no idea how big these are supposed to get. This is just my wife's section of the garden. And then we've got a third group of Bok Choy planted in here. And, you know, they're coming up. Just put my hand over there for size. They're small, but they're coming up. And walking over to the next section, we've got the carrots. Over here we have the not so carefully transplanted carrots. And, you know, it's not huge, but they're coming up. That's way too dense there probably, but we'll see what we get. And the second time we transplanted, we were more careful, so you can actually kind of see these in rows. I have no idea what they're doing underground, but they're definitely looking healthier. And I've got a bunch of grass that needs to come out of here, especially this guy. Yeah, let's throw him away. I know last time I said I was going to start doing these videos on Sundays, but I'm actually probably going to be hiking this Sunday, so kind of need to get it done. And I'm doing this Thursday night, which is why it's so dark out here. Anyway, see y'all next week.